Hello everyone, so today I'm going to be explaining the difference between perimeter and area. So these are two of the most common measurements used in geometry. And although they're related to the same shapes, they measure completely different things. So we can begin with perimeter. And perimeter is the total distance around an outside edge of a shape. So you can think of perimeter as kind of like measuring the border or outline of an object. So if you were walking, let's say around a football field and placing a fence around a backyard, or maybe wrapping ribbon around a picture frame, that you would be measuring the perimeter. So because perimeter measures a distance, the answer is usually written in units such as inches, feet, centimeters, or even meters. So to find the perimeter of any shape, you simply just need to add all the lengths of all its sides. So for example, imagine a rectangle with the length of 8 and the width of 5. So to find the perimeter, we will add all 4 lengths together. So if this side is 5, then that means this side also needs to be 5, and if this is 8, this is also 8. So to find the perimeter, we just add them all up together. So 8 plus 5 plus 8 plus 5 is going to equal us 26. So the perimeter of this rectangle is 26 feet, which this means that if you walked around the outside of this rectangle one time, you would have traveled a total distance of 26 feet. So perimeter is really easy to understand. It works with most shapes. You just add all the sides up together. So let's look at a triangle. So area and perimeter can also be found for triangles, but we use slightly different methods. So first we can find the perimeter of a triangle. So imagine this triangle with the side lengths 6, 8, and 10. So to find the perimeter, we kind of just do the same thing. We add all of the sides together. So 6 plus 8 plus 10, which will equal us 24 inches. So the perimeter of this triangle is 24 inches, and this tells us the total distance around the outside of the triangle. Okay, so now let's move on to area. So area is the amount of space inside a two-dimensional shape. So instead of measuring the outside edge like a perimeter does, area measures how much surface the shape covers. So you can think of area as imagine you're putting carpet in a room, or painting a wall, or even laying grass in a yard. In each of these situations, you aren't measuring the border. You need to know how much space is inside the shape, and that's what area tells us. So area measures the surface inside a figure, so it is always written in square units, such as square feet, square inches, or square meters. So we use square units because we're counting the number of tiny squares that could fit inside of a shape. So for a rectangle, we calculate the area by multiplying the length by the width. So we can use the same rectangle from our first example. So the length is 8 feet and the width is 5 feet. So to find the area, we just need to multiply 8 times 5, which gets us 40 feet. So this means that our rectangle covers 40 feet squared of space inside of the boundary. Okay, so now we can find the area of a triangle. So unlike rectangles, we can't just simply multiply the length by the width. Instead, we use the triangle's base and height. So since the triangle is half of a rectangle, we multiply the base by the height, and then we divide by 2. So for example, suppose this triangle has a height of 10 feet and a base of 6 feet. We will multiply the height times base, and that gets us to 60. But then we have to divide by 2, which will equal us 30. So the area of the triangle is 30 square feet. And then this is the formula. So this is the formula for the area of a triangle. It's pretty different than a rectangle, but it's really easy to get the hang of. So now that we've covered 2 examples for both perimeter and area with 2 different shapes, it is pretty easy to get the hang of. There's one really easy way to remember the difference is that perimeter measures the distance around a shape, while area measures the space inside of a shape. So just kind of think of perimeter as like the edge, and then area as everything that's enclosed with it. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and that's it on perimeter and area. Goodbye.